You are not broken. You are not helpless. You are not waiting for someone to find you. You are waiting to find yourself. This world can be loud with lies. It will tell you that your healing is someone else's job, that your freedom will arrive when someone gives you permission, that the pain you carry must be explained away, rationalized, or blamed on the past. But hear me clearly, no one is coming to save you. And that is not a sentence of despair. That is a declaration of power. The moment you stop waiting is the moment you start rising. You are not a project to be rescued. You are a force waiting to be awakened. Every step you need to take, every breakthrough you hope for, it is within reach because it's within you. God didn't put you here to be dependent. He didn't craft your soul with such detail, such vision, such fire for you to sit idly by. You weren't created to be passive. You were born with divine architecture, made in strength, shaped by purpose, and filled with spirit. That means you are equipped. That means you are capable. That means you are responsible. Yes, you've been hurt. Yes, you've faced setbacks. But hear this, your pain is not your prison. It is your path. Struggle is not evidence of abandonment, it is evidence of your calling. Gold is not refined in comfort. Destiny is not birthed in convenience. Every storm you've endured, every failure you've faced, it has been preparing you, sharpening you, sculpting you into something unshakable. You must stop waiting for a perfect moment, or a perfect partner, or a perfect sign. Heroes are not born through convenience. They are born when someone decides to rise despite the fear, despite the odds, despite the noise. Your calling does not need the world's permission. It needs your decision. You may feel tired, but you are not finished. You may feel lost, but you are not abandoned. The fire within you is still there. It just needs your breath, your voice, your will. Wake it up. Look at your life. Look at your story. Ask yourself, if someone were reading this 100 years from now, would they see a person who waited to be saved, or someone who chose to stand? Be the hero you prayed for. Be the protector you needed. Be the leader your children will thank. Your life is not small. Your choices are not meaningless. What you do in quiet, what you decide in secret, will echo for generations. You are not waiting for a rescue. You are becoming a revelation. Radical responsibility means recognizing that your life in its entirety is yours to own. No exceptions, no excuses. It's a deep, unwavering commitment to stop outsourcing your problems to your past, to other people, or to circumstances. It requires you to look at your situation, and rather than saying, why is this happening to me, you begin to ask, what am I going to do with this? That shift in mindset is not about blame, it's about power. You are not responsible for everything that has happened to you, but you are responsible for what you do with it. Radical responsibility is the decision to carry the weight of your own life, not with resentment, but with reverence. This kind of ownership demands honesty. It calls you to confront the parts of you that are still hiding behind fear, still waiting for someone to validate your potential, still waiting for permission to move forward. It's about standing before the mirror of your reality and saying, if this isn't what I want, I have the authority to change it. That doesn't mean the path will be easy, but it will be true. You stop arguing for your limitations. You stop narrating a story of helplessness. You start living like someone who understands that God placed power, discipline, and a sound mind within you for a reason. Taking radical responsibility is an act of spiritual maturity. It's the transition from a passive existence to an intentional life. It's the recognition that you are not at the mercy of fate. You are a co-creator with the divine. And because of that, you no longer wait to be chosen, rescued, or lifted. You choose yourself. You rise. You rebuild. And in doing so, you step into the sacred role of being the author of your own redemption. Victimhood is a seductive lie. It whispers to you that you're not responsible for your circumstances, that you're entitled to sympathy, and that your stagnation is justified. It offers temporary comfort, the illusion of moral high ground, and the warmth of external blame. But it steals from you in silence. It robs you of strength, clarity, and progress. The longer you stay there, the smaller your life becomes, not because of what was done to you, but because of what you refuse to rise above. Victimhood is not about what happened, it's about choosing to stay beneath what happened. There's a difference between being a victim and living as one. Everyone gets wounded. Everyone gets betrayed, overlooked, or hurt. Life will deal you moments that are unfair and painful. But when your identity becomes entangled with your wounds, when your narrative revolves around what others did or didn't do, you give away your authority. You trade your agency for a story, and that story begins to define you more than your potential ever will. Victimhood tells you you can't move forward until they apologize, until it gets easier, until someone else fixes what was broken. And while you wait, your life stays stuck. Breaking out of that trap requires a bold decision to stop feeding the story of injustice and start writing a new one based on strength. You stop repeating the language of powerlessness and start declaring, this is not how my story ends. Not because what happened didn't matter, but because you matter more. You were not created to carry a label of pain. You were created to embody resilience, redemption, and renewal. The trap of victimhood loses its power the moment you realize you already have everything you need to rise. Not later, not someday, now. There is a strength within you that did not come from the world, so the world cannot take it away. It was placed there by design divine, intentional and eternal, before anyone told you who you were, before failure tried to define you, before pain tried to shrink you. There was already a power at work in your spirit. It is not loud or boastful, but it is unshakable. This is the power that allows people to stand when everything says they should fall. It is the quiet fire that fuels vision, courage, and faith even in the middle of chaos. Divine power is not about perfection or performance. It's not reserved for the flawless or the fortunate. It's available to anyone bold enough to believe that their life carries purpose beyond their pain. This power doesn't eliminate weakness. It transforms it. It takes your scars and makes them sacred. It takes your brokenness and turns it into a vessel for grace. You don't need to search the world to find strength. You need only to uncover what God already placed within you. But that requires stillness, honesty, and the willingness to believe that you are not just surviving, you are chosen, called, and equipped. The world may try to bury your worth beneath comparison, shame, and fear. But divine power does not fade in the dark. In fact, it often reveals itself. When everything around you crumbles, when the noise is deafening, and the path unclear, that's when something ancient and holy begins to stir within you. It is the voice that says, keep going, the whisper that reminds you, you were made for more, and the truth that declares you are not alone. You carry the breath of the Creator. Walk like it, decide like it, live like it. Struggle is not a detour from your destiny, it is a doorway into it. We often ask to be made strong, but then resent the very process that makes us so. Struggle is sacred because it refines what comfort can't reach. It exposes what's real and strips away what's shallow. It teaches you to dig deep when nothing on the surface makes sense. Struggle isn't punishment, it's preparation. It's how God reveals your capacity, not by removing the weight, but by showing you that you were made to carry it and grow stronger through it. We live in a world that idolizes ease and speed, but spiritual growth doesn't come in shortcuts. Character is forged in fire. Clarity is found in wrestling. You don't learn who you truly are when everything is smooth. You learn it when everything shakes. It is in those moments, the ones you didn't choose and can't control, that your soul is given the opportunity to rise, to reach, to become. What you thought would break you often becomes the very thing that builds you. Struggle forces you to confront yourself. It brings you face to face with your fear, your doubt, your limits. And then it asks, will you stop here or will you rise anyway? And when you choose to keep moving, to keep showing up, something holy happens. You realize that pain does not mean God has left you. Sometimes it means He's closer than ever. He's not rescuing you from the fire. He's refining you in it. Every tear, every setback, every silence has a purpose. Nothing is wasted in divine hand. So don't despise the struggle. Don't rush through it or try to numb it away. Sit with it, learn from it, let it do its work. Because when the dust settles, you won't just be stronger, you'll be transformed. You were not placed on this earth just to exist, just to make it through another day, or to chase survival like it's the highest goal. There is more in you than maintenance. There is more for you than mediocrity. You were born with a purpose, something sacred, weighty, and uniquely yours. To rise with purpose means to reject the drift of a passive life and choose every day to walk with intention. Not for applause, not for approval, but because your life carries a divine assignment that only you can fulfill. Rising with purpose isn't always loud. It doesn't always look like a spotlight or a stage. Sometimes it looks like showing up with integrity when no one is watching. Sometimes it looks like breaking generational patterns in quiet, relentless decision. Sometimes it means holding the line when everything in you wants to quit. Purpose gives pain meaning. It turns delays into development and detours into direction. When you understand why you were created, you stop settling for what distracts and start sacrificing for what matters. Purpose anchors you in storms and humbles you in success. It reminds you that your gifts were not given to be buried in comfort or wasted in fear. They were entrusted to you to serve, to lead, to heal, to build. That means your life is not random. Your presence is not accidental. You are needed. You are here on purpose and for purpose. And that's why you can't stay small. That's why you can't wait for ideal conditions. You rise now, not because you're ready, but because you're called. You may not know every step, but you know the direction forward. You were not made to shrink in the face of challenge. You were made to rise, to build, to lead with clarity, and to reflect the Creator in everything you touch. Comfort is easy. It's familiar, predictable, and safe, but it's also deceptive. It convinces you that staying small is wise, that playing it safe is noble, and that postponing your potential is just being practical. Comfort wants you quiet, numb, and unchanged. But legacy calls you higher. It pulls on something deeper, something eternal. Choosing legacy over comfort means you live not just for today, but for what your life will echo long after you're gone. It's choosing impact over ease, substance over image, and meaning over momentary pleasure. Legacy doesn't happen by accident. It's built decision by decision, often in the unseen spaces where sacrifice lives. It's forged in discipline, in showing up when you'd rather not, in saying yes to growth when quitting feels easier. You start asking bigger questions. Who am I becoming? What will my children inherit from me? Habits or healing? Will the world be different because I existed or just entertained? These questions aren't burdens, they are invitations to live with fire, with clarity, with a conviction that your life matters. The truth is, your comfort zone is not your home, it's your cage. And every time you choose it over calling, something in you shrinks. But when you choose legacy, when you sacrifice what's easy for what's eternal, something in you expands. You begin to live with a holy urgency. You stop chasing applause and start building altars, places where others will meet hope, strength, and truth because of how you lived. Choosing legacy means becoming the kind of person whose courage gives others permission to rise. It means thinking beyond convenience and living in such a way that when your name is spoken years from now, it is not in pity, but in honor. Not because you were perfect, but because you were faithful, because you chose purpose over comfort again and again. Courage is not a one-time event. It's not reserved for the grand, the public, or the dramatic. It is a daily decision, quiet, steady, and often unseen. Every morning you wake up, life will give you a choice to retreat into what's easy or to step into what's necessary. Courage is choosing the hard conversation when silence would be simpler. It's standing for truth when blending in would be more comfortable. It's showing up when you feel unqualified, pressing forward when you feel uncertain, and remaining faithful when results haven't shown up yet. Real courage is not the absence of fear, it is the refusal to let fear have the final word. It means you feel the shaking, you hear the doubts, but you walk anyway. You speak anyway. You build anyway. It's not about how loud you are, it's about how obedient you are to the call that's been placed on your life. It's the recognition that fear might never leave the room, but it doesn't belong at the head of the table. You can feel it and still not be led by it. Daily courage looks like staying when it's easier to run. It looks like forgiving when bitterness feels justified. It looks like choosing integrity when no one else is watching. These moments may not be glamorous, but they are powerful. They shape your character, reinforce your values, and align your actions with the person you're becoming. You don't need strength for 10 years from now, just the boldness for today. Just enough faith to take the next step, speak the next truth, lift your head one more time. That's how hows are formed. Not all at once, but moment by moment, one brave choice at a time. And when you live like that, you don't just survive life, you shape it.